Hello, everyone. Welcome to this evening's official launch of these three beautiful new aromatherapy perfumes. I'd like to take the credit for creating these amazing perfumes, but then again, I can't really, because when you are working with three incredible aromatic ingredients like authentic, genuine Frangipani Absolute, which I've been looking for years. People have been sending me samples throughout the years, and I just know that they're not authentic. When you're working with something like vanilla CO2 extract and the incredibly rare oud, these three ingredients on their own are amazing. Hence, in naming these three beautiful perfumes, I chose the name of the star ingredient, the Frangipani, the vanilla, and the oud. Now, just to give you a little bit of a background on why I sometimes make a perfume with an ethanol alcohol base and why sometimes I use a oil base, as I have for these oils. These are very precious. They're very rich. All of them, like one, whether it's a heavy woody note such as the oud or a heavy sweet vanilla-like aroma such as the vanilla CO2, or just an intoxicating rich floral note like Frangipani, they're kind of like verging all on these base notes. And I actually remember I did the rare and exotic, the most expensive base notes in the world. I did a little webinar using the oud, the vanilla, and I also, I spoke about the oud and the vanilla and how precious they are as beautiful base notes. So I had to do something with these amazing oils. And of course, the other one I had was the coffee CO2, and that was part of the Perfect Potion Cafe collection. And the vanilla was used in those two of the blends, the chai blend and the hot chocolate. Now, when you've got these rich base notey smells, I like to use an oil as the base because they will linger on the skin even longer. And so, of course, the oil base that I use is jojoba. Now, just recently, we have changed our rollerball bottles, and I'm so excited with these gorgeous new mirror glass bottles. They are amazing. They add to the luxury of these gorgeous free products that we've created. And of course, the beautiful Pulse Points they're aromatherapy perfumes. And the other reason I've called them aromatherapy perfumes is they're only using pure essential oils, and they are at a whopping 10% concentration. So they're going to love hanging around on your skin. Wait till you smell them. They are divine. And of course, they're beautifully packaged in these little cardboard containers, so they just pop in. So you will absolutely love them. And of course, our graphic designer always does an amazing job making sure that the label artwork is gorgeous. So let me start off. Now, unfortunately, this is not a live event where I can actually pass you the scent. So I just look at me as I actually roll it on and just describe the aroma. The first one is the Royal Vanilla. It is absolutely the smell of luxury and gorgeousness. Another way to describe this. It's kind of got this very sensual note to it, but at the same time, there's a simplicity and elegance to it. Now, vanilla as an oil is often used in aromatherapy for relaxation, reducing anxiety. So this is, in a way, a beautiful calming, relaxing blend as well. But wait till you hear which essential oils I've added to vanilla. Look, I was tempted just to use the vanilla CO2 in this. But as a perfume, and I needed to keep the vanilla the star ingredient. So I didn't want to all of a sudden complicate the smell. I used patchouli, rose, sandalwood, and Peru balsam. So let me explain why I use. It's very simple. It's almost like an aromatherapy blend, but at the same time, there is a really beautiful lingering aroma on the skin. The floral note of the rose just goes so well with the vanilla. And rose is a little bit more delicate. It's a bit more feminine in its qualities, and it's going to be a little bit more alluring and sensual as well. So the rose and the vanilla was a perfect match. The patchouli is often, and just recently, I've just loved using patchouli. And by the way, I've got a very special thing to mention. Beautiful Eros blend, which the star ingredient, I'm not changing the slides. I'm really lazy tonight. I got so excited. I just realized Garrett's jumped in front of the screen and pressed the button because I've got the little clicker here, but I got so excited smelling this oil that I forgot that there's a PowerPoint presentation. The patchouli it adds a layer of complexity without not too much patchouli where it overrides the smell of the vanilla. It just makes it perfect. What was I going to say? The beautiful Eros blend where patchouli is the star ingredient, we are going to make that into a perfume. So we'll be launching that at our Christmas party event. And for the Christmas party event, by the way, we're going to be doing it in store and online. So we'll be coming down to Melbourne. I'll be in QVB in Sydney and of course in the Brisbane stores. But so thank you for everyone that's here online. Now, I wanted to make sure there was a bit of tenacity and depth to this perfume. So it needed, even though patchouli, even though vanilla are almost like these base notes, I used a little bit of sandalwood. Sandalwood is not going to override the scent of all the other ingredients in this blend, but it's got a beautiful soft woody note. So it's just going to extend how long the scent lasts on your skin. It's going to not take away from the sweetness of the vanilla. So it's just beautiful. And then the Peru balsam, it just adds that extra beautiful sweetness to it. It's a resin. Peru balsam is a resin, and it's got a very sweet vanilla-like aroma. It gorgeously complements the vanilla and the rose. The royal vanilla, I just think everyone's going to love this one, and it is absolutely sensational. It's got a warm note to it. It's very comforting as well, and it's just going to have this. And I think with all these perfumes, the best way to describe them is when you apply them to the skin, there's this aura of sophistication to these blends, and the way that they slowly unfold, revealing these effects. But at the same time, we never lose that core vanilla aroma. Now, realizing that I've got a PowerPoint presentation, the next one that I want to talk about is and I was thinking of a word to describe Frangipani, and the word that I decided to come up with is opulence. And that's why we ended up calling the Frangipani opulent Frangipani. Now, the Frangipani Absolute in itself when you smell a lot of the absolutes, first of all, they're like almost like a heavy, waxy type substance, but they dissolve in oil and they dissolve in ethanol quite easily. But it had this really, as with a lot of absolutes, they really don't shine until you start diluting them. And when I say shine, those really rich, floral, intoxicating notes come through. But there's almost this really heavy, cloying aroma when you smell the raw Frangipani Absolute. But it's gorgeous. It's got the most amazing, rich floral notes you could think of. It's very uplifting, it's very sensual, and at the same time, some might find it soothing and calming as well. So as I said, I've been looking for a Frangipani Absolute for such a long time. Now, what do you do with something like Frangipani Absolute? Now, remember, these are very expensive raw ingredients. I had to find some floral notes that would complement the scent of the Frangipani, but at the same time support it. It's not going to once again change the aroma profile where you lose, so all of a sudden it becomes more sweet jasmine-y. But of course I added that jasmine and a little bit of ylang ylang to really complement the aroma of the Frangipani, and it works amazing. It's like when you apply the Frangipani to the skin. I love telling this story about Frangipani, and I'm sure we all have these childhood connections with scent. Don't know if I should tell this story actually. It's a bit, but I've committed myself now, so I better. You know, first day at school. I'm in primary school, grade 1. Back in those days when I was at school, we didn't have kindy or anything, so I just went straight from home to school. The first day, my mum was so surprised. She said, "Oh my God, he actually loves school." Yeah, because I'd spent this time at home. He loved school. The first day, I was so excited. So Mum goes, second day, it's school time again. I said, "Oh, but I went to school yesterday. I don't have to go again, do I?" The second day was the day I lost it. Mind you, I was 5 years old. And my mum was driving me to school. We didn't actually have seatbelts in those days in the cars. And I said to Mum, "Stop the car, you've got to return. I'm not going to school." And I cracked this little hissy fit and I went, "I'm going to jump out the window if you don't stop the car. I do not want to go to school." And apparently my mum stopped the car, calmed me down and said, "You're going to school." That was very interesting. So I did go to school, but this was up in far north Queensland. And I do remember I was sitting in a seat and it was right next to the window. The windows were open and there was a Frangipani tree outside. I think just the scent of the Frangipani flowers, because it was in blossom, was what made me keep coming back to school. I just love that aroma, and to this day I always remember the second day at school. But the Frangipani holds a special place in my heart because it just reminds me of the childhood growing up in far north Queensland. Now they grow throughout Queensland, and I don't know where else, how far down south they grow, but the flower of the Frangipani is gorgeous. Now when you blend it with something like the jasmine and with ylang ylang, oh my God, and the Frangipani just comes through gorgeously in this. And once again, I've used a little bit of sandalwood. It's just such a beautiful, simple bass note. And I've used the Santalum album because it's got a more delicate, creamy, woody note that really complements these oils. If I had used any of the other Santalum species, they would probably tend to want to take over the blend a bit. And it had to have this nice feeling of the tropics. It had to be very uplifting and joyful. That's what the Frangipani is. So it had to have a sweet citrus. I felt that sweet orange was too sweet, so I used the bergamot. And the bergamot gives it this really beautiful sense of luxury. It's quite evocative. It's very, when you wear it, there's this one, it's intoxicating in a beautiful way. It's really, it's playful and it's fun. It's the best way to describe it. And as I've said, it's an intoxicating, euphoric, floral scent. And once again, the entire concentration of the oil blend in this is 10%. So that's a lot of frangipani and jasmine and sandalwood in these little bottles. It's amazing. So they're likely, remember that when you apply them to the skin, apply them to the pulse points, they are they're very safe. There's nothing in here that's going to really cause a skin irritation. The only one is bergamot. There's bergamot, but bergamot is not in such a high concentration. So the amount that goes into the skin is not going to be very high, so it won't cause any photosensitivity. But if you are concerned, please don't use this in the sun. And if you are in the sun, you should be using a sunscreen, of course. Okay, now the opulent frangipani, it is absolutely divine and quite alluring. So I do hope that you will enjoy beautiful, opulent frangipani. Now the oud. I've worked with the oud before, and it holds this very special place in my heart. First of all, the oud that we use comes from agar trees that a plantation growing. This one is from Vietnam. It is heavenly. And as you can see from that image, the agar wood, actually the oud comes only from the section in that photo, that dark section. So the rest of the tree is referred to as a sapwood. There is no essential oil in there. And it has this really rich, earthy, smoky, pungent, woody, resiny aroma. It's the best way to describe it. It is used a lot in making incense, and it's used a lot in the Middle East for very beautiful, sophisticated perfumes. It is very spiritually elevating, it's very grounding and very calming. It is one of the most expensive aromatic ingredients that I have ever had to buy and ever had to use. But it is heavenly. It's the only way that I can describe it. So it is not surprising that when I named oud, I decided to simply call it sacred oud. This blend is a little bit more complex, but in each case, each of the ingredients, each of the essential oils that I've chosen complements and enhances a certain aspect of this incredibly complex oud essential oil. So of course, and in this case, they're also so important. I've chosen all these rich base notes. Patchouli, once again, seems to have snuck into this one. It's just patchouli adds a level of sophistication to a blend like this, to a perfume like this. The vetiver perfectly complements that slightly smoky aspect of the oud, and it creates this beautiful grounding effect. The Santalum album, once again, the Santalum album was an important ingredient in all three perfumes, and that is what also helps them to linger on the skin. Look, we tested it and tested this for months. I find that they will stay on the skin, all day long. They're not going to radiate this, cloud of scent around you, because that's what the ethanol does as it evaporates off. This will tend to stay on the skin. I really wanted these perfumes to be more for you to enjoy, not so that everybody else smells them. You will really enjoy them, and just when you smell them, and you'll get the long-term beautiful effects on our psyche when you smell, they stay on the skin. Now, the myrrh is really important in the sacred oud as well. Of course, it complements the oud. It's a very important resin. It's used a lot in incense as well. It's very spiritually elevating and ground, and very at the same time has this subtle myrrh has a slightly sweeter, spicy note, which really complements the resiny aspects of the oud essential oil. Now, the clove, there's just an ever small amount of clove bud. I've used like an authentic clove bud here, not from a clove leaf. It's a sweet, spicy aroma that just gives it a bit of, makes it a bit more complex. It lingers on the skin, but it just adds a layer of complexity to this gorgeous oud oil. And then the smallest amount of rose, and I use the Rose Absolute because it's got a little bit more depth to complement the oud, and it's just to give it a little bit of sweetness. I'd like to think that these three beautiful perfumes will be, I don't like to apply a gender to perfumes when I create them. I really think go with how you are feeling. If you want something more uplifting and playful, the Frangipani is going to be gorgeous. If you want something a little bit more sweet, soothing, comforting, relaxing, the vanilla is going to be gorgeous. And if you want something a little bit more spiritually elevating, the amazing sacred oud is going to be better. So it's more about how would you like to feel, and that is how you choose them. But as with all the perfumes, it's going to be important to try it on your skin as well. Now, there was something else that I had to tell you about these beautiful perfumes. They are now available in store, but we are doing a gorgeous little bundle deal where you can get all three of them for $159.95. They are, like I said, these are individually, they are $69.95. They are some of the most expensive blends that I have created, especially at that 10% concentration. But when you experience them, you will be amazed, I hope. And I think they will just add an aura of sophistication. They will enhance your spirituality. They will just be bursting with sunshine, as is with the Frangipani, for example, and they just elevate the soul. They are among the all-time favorite creations that I have ever made. So I do hope that you get to experience the sacred oud, the royal vanilla, and the opulent Frangipani very soon. Please, if you really want to smell them first, please pop into one of our stores, but you will not be disappointed. Thank you so much, and please enjoy your evening. Thank you so much. Bye.